Hey everyone, this is Dwayne Cupid here. I'm starting a new series called Urban Legends, and I'm going to be doing certain urban legends off the internet or like really old scary stories. And today's story, I want to hit you with the good one, Jeff the Killer. Jeff the Killer is a creepy pasta. He comes off. He's basically an internet meme, but a lot of people speculate that he's actually real and very dangerous and very psychotic and psychopathic. His backstory goes from there's different backstories, but I'm going to be going based off of one backstory, which is one that most people are probably familiar with. So basically, Jeff the Killer was just an ordinary child who was going to high school. And just like all new kids who move from a different school, he gets bullied. Well, one day, his brother Lou was being bullied by these three guys. I forgot their names. I just only remember Jeff and Lou. So, sorry. And, excuse the music. Sorry, I was trying to give it a scary atmosphere, but this just honestly sounds like opera music. I don't do opera music, sorry. So I'm going to make it very faint so you can hear my voice even though it doesn't sound that good. You can tell that by listening to some of my old videos. Well, that's your decision. So yeah, like I said before, his brother was getting bullied by a couple of students from his school, and basically Jeff just had a certain urge to snap and stab one of them, break one of their wrists, and punch one of them so hard that he threw up. So they all ran off, and he just went on about his day. However, for some reason, Jeff had a very sinister and ominous sensation that kept consuming his very being in his body. And, so one day, the police was called, and his brother was taken away. His brother took the fall for Jeff, even though Jeff knew that he was the one who did it. So his brother was sent off to juvie, and Jeff was left alone with grief. So he was forced to go to this birthday party, and unfortunately, the bullies came to the kid's birthday party. They started a fight with Jeff, and Jeff basically, one of the bullies, after he killed the main bully, after he killed the leader, one of the other bullies set him on fire. And he was sent to the emergency. He was rushed to the emergency hospital, and when maybe a couple of weeks or so, they told him that he could take off the bandages. And what he saw wasn't anything that you would usually see. Jeff's skin was pale white. His hair was black. And also, his eyes just looked so sinister and all big and evil looking. Now, usually the initial reaction to that for any normal person would be to scream and just say how ugly they are. However, Jeff, on the other hand, was a different case. He said he looked beautiful in every way, even more beautiful than anyone else he ever seen before. And that's the most beautiful he's ever going to get in his life. And no one really paid attention to this at the time because the doctor suggested he was probably so traumatized by the look of his face that he just decided to just accept it in the most satisfying way. And his parents agreed, and they just took him on home. And during that time, his brother Lou came back from the juvenile center. So, maybe around 7, 8, 9. I don't know what time it was. They didn't give it a specific time, so. I'm reading off a tablet, so they didn't give it a specific time. After dinner, we'll just say that. So after dinner, Martha, his mother, I remember her name very well, Martha, because she's a name. She was going to check on Jeff. She looked in his bedroom and didn't see him, so she went to the bathroom. What she saw next was horrifying. Jeff cut a huge smile on his face with a knife, and he cut off his eyelids so they can permanently stay open. He turned around and asked his mother, "Do I look pretty?" His mother said, "Yes, you look very pretty." But she was in terror and fear. She asked her husband to grab the gun. But before she did that, Jeff killed them both instantaneously in the most gruesome and disturbing way. And then he resumed to doing the same to his brother. Although I hear that his brother was just merely stabbed in a place where he couldn't heal or whatever. So, Jeff left his happy home in a bloody mess. And that started the legend of Jeff the Killer. I said that already, sorry. Yeah. Now, there haven't really been... There's been some initial sightings of Jeff, or so they say. But he was basically created off the internet. However, I'm going to try to look up some encounters people had with Jeff and see their part of the story. But before I do that, I'm going to try to tell you my own little... I'm going to try to give off my own little reason on why Jeff probably went crazy. Most people say that he got so traumatized by his face that he just tried to depict like his own twisted fantasy and his own, like, I'm sorry, it's hard to explain. Basically, he tried to cover up the fact of how hideous he looked, or how hideous he thought he looked, by carving a smile onto his face and cutting his eyes permanently open, so that way he can always seem jolly and happy about the way he looks. But people say on the inside that that's not the case. That people say on the inside that he actually is hurting on the inside. So, but I think that it's a lot more deeper than that. Now, I'm sorry, I'm typing here. This is so unprofessional. Shane Dawson did a very better job when he did Slender Man. By the way, go check him out. He's actually pretty funny. He changed my life. And by changed my life, he made me get fatter. So basically, what I think is, Jeff thinks in his mind that he has a higher purpose. So, you know how, like, Bruce Wayne became Batman so he could prevent every other child from experiencing the same thing he did, like having his parents get gunned down in front of him. Jeff is doing the same thing, except in his mind, he believes if I kill all these people, they won't turn out to be like me. That's what he believes in his mind. Or that's what I believe that he believes in his mind. Still looking up some encounters. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I found one right here. It's called My Encounter with Jeff the Killer. That's when I saw him. I was walking along a windy dirt road, which I lived on. My cold hands were stuffed in my pockets and my torn blue jeans. Today I decided to take the narrow pathway in the forest and the shortcut to my house. I sighed and raised my hood on my jacket. I had no choice but to keep walking, rain or not. I heard some crackling and snapping twigs behind me, but like I said, I had no choice to keep walking. I arrived home and entered the back door, wiping my muddy feet on my welcome home rug. My dog Skipper eagerly wiggled his tail and licked my hands. "Hey, Skipper," I chattered as I ruffled his hair. I fed him, sat down on my bed, and I discarded my wet clothing. The rain was outside, it was very thick. I wasn't even able to see the field behind my house. I decided to take a warm shower, grab a bite to eat, and settle down on my couch. I flickered through some of the TV channels, and there was a familiar chime in the breaking news rang through my ears. Breaking news: a wild murderer has been spotted in around town lately. There have been many encounters of it. Most described as a man, short-length black hair, donned a white hooded sweatshirt and black dress pants. Police investigation is on the scene now, which an elderly woman died. She has his recording appearance in her journal. Evidence is all we can go by. This is all the evidence we can go by. Police squads heavily recommend that you close all your windows and lock them at all times. Indoors, garages, and any other point of entry. Look out for any mysterious tracks in your backyard. If anything seems unusual, call the police department immediately. I signed and invited Skipper on a couch with me, petting his head. However, he was wagging his tail, running around, and it seemed like he had to use the restroom. So I let him out, but he hasn't been back in a while. But he didn't come back for a while. I called his name, and I started getting goosebumps on my skin. The hair stood on the back of my neck. But then he came back. He didn't seem thrilled to have to return, but I had a bad feeling about those woods. He seemed to have this kind of aura that surrounded him, like a bad feeling of some sort. I laid down in my bed later and laughed at how scared I was of a few snapped branches. It was probably a stupid little punk trying to prank me. I swear none of those kids respect anyone over their age. I looked out my shades one last time before closing them. I examined everything under the pale moonlight. That's when I saw him. Now, I don't really know if this encounter is real or not. Probably not. Unless you like to hear my theory, which I'm going to tell you right after this video. It's a stupid theory. I might insult some people. Some people might try to kill me. Please don't. You can kill me when I turn 20, but not now. So wait 2 years, okay? Thank you. But anyway, yeah. Now, usually some people explain their encounter with the person, but to be honest, I've never had an encounter with Jeff the Killer before. Like, never. But then again, I usually live in parts where it's just ghetto, and I don't think he runs around the ghetto. Maybe if I go to those little white people areas, like, maybe if I go to the little white people areas, I would. Well, I am living in Fayetteville, so he might come down here. You never know. I might be dead right after this video. He does not like when people talk about him. He doesn't. But anyway, there's a theory that I heard from somebody that I was talking to on Instagram, and it's very weird, but at the same time, it is kind of funny to me in some way. Okay, so this guy, he has been investigating and comparing Jeff the Killer to Michael Jackson. Yeah, I know, weird. But anyway, he says that because, like Jeff the Killer, Michael Jackson has this sort of pale, light-skinned complexion. And like Jeff is pale white, and they both have black hair. And he was just trying to compare the two try to compare the two. Now, in my opinion, Michael Jackson's dead. Rest his soul. He was the best, honestly. He inspired me to write songs and get into music anyway. But yeah, I don't think Jeff the Killer is Michael Jackson. Jeff the Killer is just some urban legend that a lot of people talk about. However, those urban legends do have a lot of body counts. I'm talking about a lot. There you guys go. I'm gonna sign off for now. Let me know in the comment section below what other urban myths you want me to do, or I might just do one anyway. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I don't know when I'll be making another video. I'm having a very busy schedule with my life. Don't want to really get into it, but I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it was scary enough for you. But like I said, you believe Jeff the Killer or not. But remember, if you do, he's always watching. See ya.